Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since I uploaded one of these videos, but I promise I'm going to get more consistent on my uploading. I'm going to try to get a couple of replays, I guess, recorded today, and then have them scheduled and edited already so that I can have them up to the channel in the next couple of weeks. But that is not here nor there. I promise to get more content out, but for now, we got some content already for you guys today. We got two players that you guys are all going to be pretty familiar with, or I would assume if you're familiar to the 1v1 scene, you'll be pretty familiar with. But if not, I've got videos of both of them on the channel. First one is going to be Daniel. Second one's going to be ApparentlyJack. Not sure why I didn't pop up the tag on the first one, but, you know, so be it. Okay, apparently Daniel's tag is just not showing up in general. Hopefully that fixes itself in just a moment, but there it goes. But yeah, these are two players that we've both seen on the channel before. I think everybody here, if you're familiar with 1v1s, knows who both of these players are. I'm not going to give too much of a background on both of them, as Daniel, I believe, yep, he's going to score his first goal as he pops it around ApparentlyJack to bring it to a 1-0 within 18 seconds, but Daniel is a player who is a young player out of North America. He's top 1v1 player on the planet. He's been a ranked grinder for a while. These are all things I go over in his video. I believe it was against... Who do I have him on the channel against? I think it's against Forky, right? Yeah, it's against Forky as he scores his second goal now within 30 seconds. But top contender for 1v1s, always has been, always will be. He's a really, really solid player who's got a bright future ahead of him. As soon as he turns the age of the legal age of competition, he's really going to start entering a bunch of RLCS level competitions, I would imagine. But on the other side of it, we got a player who's not only on the other side of the play spectrum, as he gets a very slow flick into the goal, which is his usual. We also have a player that's across the pond, ApparentlyJack, an English player, or I believe English player, at least from the UK as far as I know, who's a really good 1v1 player as well. He's not as much of a ranked grinder normally. This season he's had an absolute ranked grind and has brought himself up into the top 10. I believe he's in the top 3 right now, but in addition to that, he's also just played well in competition and show matches and just all around. He's, I believe, in my opinion, one of the top 3 1v1 players on the planet, and in addition to that, he's probably, if you're trying to debate the top 3 1v1 players on the planet, he's definitely one of the top 5 1v1 players on the planet, and that's not even up to debate, as he makes a fantastic save on the line. And yeah, I mean, again, if you want more context on either of these players, I believe I go into a little bit more of their background in their videos, their respective videos. Daniel, I have a match versus him and Forky. And ApparentlyJack, I've got to play against him and TRK as he goes to the sky here. What can he do with the ball? Fantastic reset. Quick to it. And ties it back up, 2-2. But that's about as much time as I will take to sort of explain the background of these two players. If, again, like I said, if you want more background, please go look at the two videos. If not, no worries. But right now, we got a game on our hands as ApparentlyJack barely puts in this top right shot. But the real reason that I'm interested in these two matches that I've got between these two guys, which are, I believe, about, I think, 2 weeks or a week or two apart between the two of them, is that these are two guys who have both respectively just dominated 1v1 in their scene, in their country, or I guess I should say in their region, not really their country. And in addition to just domination, in their country and region, ApparentlyJack going to barely miss that one, and that's not going to be enough of a shot to get past Daniel. But they also have two very, very different play styles. It's interesting to see what sort of is going to happen when they match up against each other. Daniel is a much more aggressive player. He doesn't like to give you a lot of room. He's good at suppressing your offense and making sure that you kind of just feel like he's a nuisance every time he plays, and I say that in a very positive light. And meanwhile, on the other side of it, you've got ApparentlyJack, who's a little bit calmer of a player. He definitely is a lot more reserved when it comes to his play style as he tries to slow set up. I think that was supposed to be air bump dribble, but it didn't really happen. Daniel's going to tie it up 3-3. But, again, he's another one of those players. He's very reserved. He's very methodical in everything he does. And then on the other side of it, you've got Daniel, who's more aggressive, who's more high-flying, who's more showmanship. And it's just two different play styles is really the best way to put it. And I've had the pleasure of being able to watch a lot of Daniel's footage lately, as I've been doing 1v Wednesdays for Team Meteor, which is one of the biggest, I would say, or one of the most prevalent, 1v1 leagues or tournaments in the in North America, as Daniel scores an own goal at a pretty inopportune time with only about half the game left. He's put ApparentlyJack up a goal. But yeah, Daniel, I've had the pleasure of being able to watch him in a live setting and seeing what he does in, a little bit more high-stress situations where the competition is more fierce, where the competition is really there and alive the whole time. And he's played well there, too. I mean, he's really stepped up to expectations. He's done a great job. He's definitely had some competition that has not necessarily stifled him, but has made it a little bit more difficult of a job for him, as, he barely misses this one right. But still, he lives up to expectations. Daniel is genuinely one of the best 1v1 players in North America, and every time he plays, it really does show. So, But on the other side of it, I've not been able to watch ApparentlyJack in a live setting, so I can't quite attest to how well he does on a normal, everyday scenario in a competition. But, you know, we will find out. We'll have to see. I'd love to see some more competition out of him, or be able to cast it live, I should say. The last competition he did live, as far as I know, was that he played in Goldmine, where he placed third, losing to what was the second place. Ooh, second place contender Fairy Peak, as he barely misses this shot here. Good heads-up play to at least keep this at midfield, though. Knows that Daniel could counter on that in about a second. But yeah, he's played well in competition as well, which is why I mentioned that he really is one of the best 1v1 players on the planet, because his clutch is just like no other, as he puts in this 5th goal off of a fantastic 50 at the midfield out of Daniel. So yeah, both of these players, really, really solid players who I think have bright futures in the Rocket League world, especially Daniel, who is such a young age that eventually he will get picked up by a team. And we'll really see what happens after that, as ApparentlyJack goes for... What on earth was that air dribble? I don't really know what he was planning on doing with that one. He really just kind of wasted his boost and then gave Daniel a clean counterattack. Daniel going to bring this to 4-5 now. 49 seconds left here. See if Daniel can try and bring this one back, see what he can do with the ball. But yeah, I mean, this is just... I wanted to bring out these two matches purely because of the fact that it's really interesting to see the contrast between North American 1v1s right now and European 1v1 right now, because I think North American 1v1 right now is really perfectly concluded by the way that Daniel, or I guess summarized by the way that Daniel plays. It's very flashy, it's high-flying, it's good at, you know, making these weird, not necessarily uncalculated, but really sort of risky challenges that kind of come out of nowhere, and when you do that, it throws your opponent off. They can't read you as well. They have difficulty trying to make sure that, you know, you stay on target. Oh my, speaking of on target, I think Daniel just missed that one. Yeah, he did. That one's going wide, and ApparentlyJack now, he's going to be thanking his lucky stars right here as, oh, he makes a fantastic save on the line. Daniel, now he's got about 1 second left. He's just got to keep this one up, and I don't think so. ApJack just needs to let this one die, and if he can get to it, that he will. That 50 will let it die. 4-5 it becomes, and a very, very close first game here, as ApparentlyJack takes the first victory in, well, it's not really a series, but in the 2 games that I will be showing you guys here today. But yeah, again, I mean, this is just sort of how it is. There's 2 different play styles. You can see how ApparentlyJack tried to waste time at the very end of the game, play very slowly, methodically, you know, take his time in the way that he was playing. Meanwhile, Daniel was high-flying, flashy, trying to just be quick on the ball. And that's just sort of the trend right now in both of the regions, is that there's a lot of flashiness in North America, which has really brought them up because a lot of players have popped up out of nowhere as they've gotten more and more confidence as they continue to play. And then on the other side of it, you've got Europe, where it's a little bit more reserved and it's a little bit more methodical. And I don't say that in a bad light. I mean, it's just 2 very different styles of play, because there are some American 1v1 players who do play somewhat European, but I mean, it's really, it's all up to preference, and it's going to evolve over time. I think that 1v1s has a lot of room to grow, and we'll see how much these players can grow in the 2 weeks that it's been since these guys played, or I think it was a week. I'll go back and check the dates exactly after this. Just wanted to get you guys into the second match without further ado, as it's now Daniel and ApparentlyJack. Daniel in a different car this time. ApparentlyJack, same sort of thing. Actually, no, I think it's just a different car design. He was in the Octane last time as well, if I'm not mistaken. This is just a little bit more of a, I'm not going to call it a basic design, but less flashy. But so far, it's not really going to do much for Daniel. Okay, maybe now it'll do something for Daniel, as he'll equalize off of 2 kickoff goals, 1 to each person aside. So I guess a little bit better out of Daniel. And But yeah, again, it's just, we're going to see sort of how this flashiness works out for Daniel here in game number 2. I do think that there's a chance that Daniel would be able to beat ApparentlyJack if he had a full series against him. But at the same time, I mean, man, North American 1v1s, it's climbing, but we just haven't had the opportunities quite yet for them to be able to show off their prowess in comparison to the North Americans in comparison to the European players who, about a year ago, I would definitely say that 1v1s was more or less dominated by European players. Now it's starting to even out. There's a lot of North American players coming out of nowhere who are focusing on ones to the utmost degree and are putting in tons of great hours. Oh, and great power at that. I mean, Daniel, you can see flicks like that don't just come out of nowhere. Great shot out of Daniel, but realistically, as much as North America and Europe both fight for 1v1, I'm on the Middle East fanboy club, where basically I believe that Middle East right now has by far and away the best 1v1 players on the planet, as Jack makes a beautiful chip into the left side of the goal to just pop it around Daniel. Great shot out of ApparentlyJack. But I think North America and Europe could definitely give Middle East a run for their money, but still, I definitely think that Middle East has the highest concentration of like top 10 players, of really just the best players on the planet, as Daniel goes for the double reset. Can't quite get it. But, I mean, it'll be an interesting scene to see, and as much as we've got lands for 3v3s coming up in about 2 years, as Jack makes a fantastic challenge on the wall, really good heads-up play out of Jack there to just not let Daniel run with that one. No, he needed to challenge twice, but I'd love to see at the next LAN if we could get a 1v1 LAN competition. It'd be great to bring a bunch of North American players, a bunch of European players, and even some Middle East players out and allow them to come to compete in a LAN event for 1v1. I mean, it'd be so pretty. Ooh, as speaking of pretty, as Daniel just lowers this one in. Yeah, I think that the competition would be just so appealing to watch, I guess is the best way to put it, as there's a lot of there's a lot out there that people don't quite know about yet. I mean, there's a lot of competition people have not had the opportunity to see competing against each other. I think that Fahad versus, let's think about, I don't know, First Killer would be great. Khaled versus First Killer would be fantastic. I think that Ahmed versus, I'm trying to think of some other 1v1 players in the top 10. Ooh, Omar would be great. We've seen a lot of Omar grinding recently. I think if we could pull out some other top 10 players, I think it'd be Ricky should now get some real recognition for staying in the top 10 for a long time. But I mean, these are all theoreticals. If these players could go to a LAN-like event, I mean, it would be very fun to watch. I mean, we'd have some crazy goals, just like what we're seeing now. Apparently, Jack's setting up the air bump dribble out of nowhere. Or is it air dribble bump? I always say that backwards, and I apologize for that. It's just sort of it's sort of habit here. Is like the first thing you say when you mention the play. Oh my word! And it just sticks in your head. That's gonna stick in Daniel's head, as apparently Jack narrowly gets the goal there, or gets the save there after Daniel has a ripper of a shot. Daniel has to be aware that Jack's got some defense out the wazoo right now. Impressive stuff. Oh well. Maybe I shouldn't speak too soon. I talk about this in all of my 2v2 casts. The caster curse really does hate me more than any other caster on this planet, as apparently Jack makes a whiff on his defense and Daniel scores that one, but half the game left here and it's a 4-4 ball game. Daniel should be able to save that one. That he will. Now, is he going to rip this one on net? That he will. You see what I mean when I say it's a little bit more aggressive out of Daniel in comparison to ApparentlyJack? You know ApparentlyJack is never going to take a shot like that. He'd rather set it up slowly like he just did there with the dribble. Daniel a little bit more aggressive, just shooting one on net to try and throw Jack off, but Jack's too experienced. He's not going to forget that sort of stuff, and I mean, he's just had such a long history. Oh, in the Rocket League scene as he bars it down and out. Makes a great heads-up play to go for the demo. Knew exactly where Daniel was going to be, and slow dribbles this one in and bumps Daniel on the other side. I think at this point, Jack's just trying to get in Daniel's head, and for good reason. Daniel's not a player you want to give momentum to and let him come back, but again, I mentioned this previously. If you want more context on either of these players, please go check out the other videos that I've done on them. I try to sort of summarize the context of these two players as much as I can. But, yeah, like I said, Jack's got a lot of experience in the Rocket League scene, both in 1v1 as well as 3v3 and just overall. So he's used to this pressure. He's used to this type of play style. And one of the more interesting things I've read, and I believe it was ApparentlyJack specifically who mentioned this the other day on his Twitter, is that North America doesn't really take ranked games as seriously as European players do. Jack specifically has been quoted, I'd have to find the exact Twitter quote, so I'll paraphrase here, but he basically said, you got to treat 1v1s like it's a scrim or like it's, or not one, excuse me. You gotta treat ranked games like they're a scrim or like it's a professional practice or like it's a professional game or anything. If you take ranked 1v1 seriously and if you just think ranked in general, it's one of the best places that you can learn to grow as a player. So that's not the exact quote. If you want to go check out his Twitter, it'll be on there. He does have a quote about ranked, about how important he believes it is. As, ooh, Daniel fakes him out on the line. Fantastic play to Daniel here to bait out Jack, who he knew was going to be patient there, but yeah, again, I mean, Jack is a big proponent of ranked like this, so this is a game where you got to bring your A game against him. He's not going to take this lightly. He's not going to mess around in ranked like this. He's going to play it to the utmost expertise. Similarly, Daniel, you got to treat it with as much respect as he does, as Daniel really has started to turn up the heat here in the last couple minutes. He's going to have to try and do something to show off against Jack, though, who is really now starting to take this a little bit more slowly. He's being very methodical in his defense here. Speaking of which, a great challenge. Now Daniel's got to be careful with this one. He's really given, yeah, I was going to say, he has low boost and he's given Jack time to get boost. He did a good job of getting out to the midfield, but here's something we've seen out of Jack before. Yep, you knew the air bump dribble was coming out, but the follow-up bump just off the line is going to be huge. Jack going to be able to pop this into the top left. Oh my word. If we got a forfeit out of Daniel there, I honestly would not have been surprised. That's got to be so tilting. You did such a good job getting back into recovery after you gave Jack time to get the boost. You avoided the bump dribble. Ooh, but you're going to be able to get an unfortunate play. Yeah, there's the forfeit. I was going to say, you're not going to be able to get another goal for your half, but you're going to be able to have what is a bump on Jack. Yeah, you look at this one. Going back on this one. So you get the bump on Jack. Oh, that touch is not what you're looking for out of Daniel. My surprise there, from what I just saw, I really wasn't expecting that shot on net. At first, I thought that was Daniel's goal, and then I look up and realize that Jack has scored, and it's now 8-6. Daniel just making a mistake play on the line, and that's just unfortunate. But yeah, a quick one here today. Two games, not very long. That's all I really wanted to show you guys, just sort of the difference in the competition from across the pond and from here in the States. And Daniel going down 2-0 in 2 games versus ApparentlyJack, and really impressive stuff out of both players. But ApparentlyJack, like I said, he's one of the top 1v1 players on the planet, and it's very hard to throw him off his game when he takes ranked as seriously as he does. So, impressive play out of ApparentlyJack, impressive out of Daniel, and that'll be all for today. We're gonna have some more competition up on the channel soon. I'm gonna try to get some more from some other players. I think the next thing that should be up on the channel is gonna be a showcase of El Omar Matone, which I believe is just Omar now. I think he switched his name back to just Omar in game. I'm not exactly sure, but I've got 3 matches of him against another top 100 player who is really solid, but these are the only matches I could find of Omar, so I just kind of wanted to showcase some stuff of him. So we will we will see what happens here as we get into the next showcase. But for now, that is all for today. Thank you guys for sticking around the channel. I really do appreciate all of the support that I've been getting lately. If you guys want to see any more of my action in live, check out Team Meteor. Check out Game Time. I believe if this is uploaded before December 1st, which it should be, I'm going to be casting for them for a big 3v3 competition, the one I was mentioning. I don't know if I mentioned it previously. I believe I mentioned it previously, but I may not have. They have a big competition, which even Daniel is participating in. So those are going to be the 2 places to look out for me right now if you want to go get my stuff live. But if not, thank you guys for joining me today. I hope that you guys have a good rest of your day, and I promise to have some more Rocket League 1v1 action out for you guys real soon. Thank you.